Yeah, I understand that. That's not what I was saying. What I'm asking is, when we get through with all of the two, I'm just calling for a motion for the second reading of the amendments for 23, and discussion from us forward, right? And then I call for the motion to end discussion. So it does end the meeting, at the end of the meeting, it has, and does, do they need, does we have it as party that's drinking after the meeting? No, that's just it, right?
David,
Meeting adjourned.
you just tried to call.
Well, I was trying to learn, but I didn't know what I was supposed to do from this meeting. Where's Willie? Oh.
I thought I saw him up at the, organ there, so I don't know.
Hmm. Everybody looks so happy. Well, it's almost time, 1 minute.
I know.
I don't know. He said he was coming, so I don't know. I don't know.
Huh?
I was asking what he was saying.
Where's Willie?
He's still coming. Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I know we can't wait much longer, so we have to start without him. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is just Town of Selmer annual budget meeting 2024, July 1, 2023, and ending June 30th, 2024 on our ordinance, our meeting on general funds. Just bear with me for a second because I wanted to read something before we get started, if that's okay. Before we begin discussing the budget, I have a related statement that I just wanted to read to y'all, and there's some copies on the table if y'all want to grab one, if you want to. Proposing an initial budget from which the board works to adopt a new one for the upcoming fiscal year is the job of the mayor with the help of the CMFO and others. I am doing so in a somewhat different fashion this has been done in the past years. I'm proposing the draft budget you saw at the last meeting, and of course in the paper, accompanied by certain adjustments to be made to result in a revised proposed budget for FY 2024, fiscal year 2024. Note that while the board must address the budgets in both the government side of the town's government and SUD, I'm limiting my comments and adjustments to the governmental side. The prior draft budget contained a 2% across-the-board pay raise with accompanying payroll taxes and retirement costs. For almost all employees in the governmental side, I'm okay with keeping that provision. However, I'm proposing a few changes. An increased focus on interest earnings resulting in a target net increase of $100,000. My position is managing the taxpayers' money to maximize the return on their idle funds should be a priority as opposed to increasing taxes. We have not done this in recent years, but doing so in today's 5% interest rate environment is a must if we are to be good stewards of taxpayers' money. An increase in the property tax rate of no more than 10.6 to 0.69 resulting in an estimated increase in property tax revenue of $90,000. My position, my only reason for adding these adjustments is the discussion and perception reference the need to increase pay scales for competitive employment purposes. I just want to say, we're trying to catch up to our, 21st century. I'm only supportive of such a change in conjunction with the increased interest earnings focus for the reasons stated above. Further, I'm also only supportive in those targeted pay rate changes are made following a performance and merit-based program that's being developed rather than another across-the-board raise. Inclusion of a pool of $55,000 to $90,000 from which pay changes above the proposed 2% will be awarded ASAP during the financial year to identified employees via merit and performance-based evaluation program being developed. My position again is department heads and the equivalent will not be recipients of pay increases from that pool via this program. Where they have only employees and their function areas, they will be included in and in fact will drive the process working through the mayor, who will be the final determinant of the impact on individual employees. Inclusion of a pool of $15,000 to $25,000, 5%, $15,000, $25,000, 7%, $15,005, from which department heads and the equivalent will be able to earn a year-end performance bonus under another evaluation program being developed. My position across the board pay increases fly in the face of effective and efficient personnel management. I am not supportive of them beyond the equivalent of cost of living adjustments. We are not yet to the point in our HR processes of our compensation plan where we can focus any changes before a bare minimum, like the 2%. From our limited resources, we must get the most beneficial impact we can from such pay changes, and my proposal is the right process, hopefully, for doing so. Inclusion in a street and sanitation budget of an additional $10,000 for needed immediate repair replacement of the stormwater damage. I just feel like that's important system for our town. We all know about our drainage issues. So my position in that is we've been ignoring the problems for a little too long, and we have engineering evaluation recommendations that estimates the full resolution will cost substantially more than this. But we are pursuing a mitigation grant. Hopefully we will get that, and we'll hear more about hopefully some help from Alton, our engineer. So, however, this $10,000 should fix certain things that we have that's been awaiting for the repair as we speak now for 2024 fiscal year. Concluding these changes result in a net increase in year-end funds of $56,000, $89,000, depending on which pool levels are approved and awarded. Note that the lower end of the pools equate to a 3% overall pay increase above the 2% already included, while the higher end pools equate to a 5% additional overall increase. Additionally, I was trying to get some numbers done, and Angie was so nice and helpful. I wanted to say, if Angie's tax collection estimate proves correct, these leftover numbers will be much less than I have presented in this report. I will not be able to support a budget that does not include the changes I deem necessary for effective and efficient governance, and B, any variance that places an undue burden on the taxpayers. And that is all I wanted to say for that. So it'll be up to the board.
I got a question about part of that.
Okay, yes, sir.
So you're doing merit-based raises.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that plan of action in place yet?
Yes, I'm still working on that, and I should have that pretty soon.
Having it in place and still working on it is two different things.
You're exactly right, but it'll be ready for it because you'll do 2%
So how
as you always do.
are we going to approve something we don't know what it is? The employees don't know what it is.
2% across the board is what you were going to approve anyway, and you're going to, and I will definitely have the evaluations.
That's what we were going to approve anyway, but
Well, that's probably.
not what was proposed. But so
So you propose.
you don't know what the merit base will be based off of? You don't have any clue?
Not yet.
So
Not
when will
all of
that,
it.
when do you have a date for that to be completed?
Yes, hopefully whenever y'all go ahead and do your approval, I'll have those evaluations where we'll go into
It's
evaluations.
really hard to approve something you don't know what it's gonna be.
You're gonna
That
do-
was my, all right, secondly,
Okay, go ahead.
you said the utilities won't be included in this. So the whole utility department's not?
Well, no, I'm sure the utilities would be included in the evaluation, but I didn't put Chris in there because that, as I understand, is a different entity or different unit. So
different
I don't,
fund. We
I
just-
wouldn't be able to be
Yeah.
a part of that. That would be
It's a
Angie and Chris
different fund,
Grisham.
But they, normally we just mirror what happens in the city.
Okay,
I mean, you don't fund it with taxes,
that's right.
but it would be, we would just.
So I wouldn't be as involved in that as I would be in this side.
No. So in that, you talk about, I guess it's the same as the email you sent us the other night.
Yes.
Talk about getting interest funds from idle money. Can you explain how that's gonna happen?
Well, I've been getting with Regions and the other banks, and I'm hoping that we can hopefully find some funds that's in our idle money of, basically, you know.
So find funds, or you know where they're at before we approve the budget? Are we just guessing what we're doing, or do we know what's gonna be done when we vote today? This is what's gonna happen, this is where they're gonna go, this is where the money's gonna come from. I know you can't judge, the interest rate's changing all the
Right,
time.
you're correct.
But you can say, we think it's gonna go this way, this is what we're gonna plan on. Do you have that number from any
Well,
solid
actually,
source?
I pulled the, as y'all looked at the 5% or the 7%, and then I guess y'all proposed a 10, or put in a 10%.
You're talking about the raises?
Yes,
I'm not
the
talking about raises. I'm talking
Oh.
about money gained from interest,
Yes,
like you said in your email and what you just read.
the
So where,
100,000.
how is that gonna work?
I-
I'm asking for details.
I
I guess-
understand.
Kind of what John's, what's the math behind the target net increase of 100,000?
And how we're gonna get there.
I think from our idle money, that I'm hoping
So
that.
explain, I mean,
It's-
you say that, but I don't know what you're trying to say.
It's like money that is, you know, you put in a savings account and you pull from your money from whatever, you've got $3 million in the account and you pull some out, then you get idle money that you will use from that interest money to
Okay,
put
so-
into the
so what
pool
are
to pay for
what are
the
the banks
raises.
saying the rate's gonna be if we move that money tomorrow, or the first, or the third, or the fourth, and move money over there? What's the rate gonna be? Is that gonna be in like a CD or a savings account?
A
CD where it's set and we know we're gonna get 3% off of that?
That's exactly right, and I do not have that, I apologize. I was waiting on Scott to get me that from Regions, and I hadn't got
So
that
we're approving
yet.
a budget, and we don't know.
I do apologize for that. Just have to kind of,
So
so, but
how
go
did,
ahead.
where did you get the numbers that we have here?
From the numbers that we have in our
So
budget.
if you don't know what the numbers are from the bank,
I do not have the numbers from the bank. I do not.
so how do we know what it's gonna be, 100,000 or 90,000 or 120,000?
I actually got it from just our numbers from our budgets, and that's what I did, and went off the
But that's
numbers from Angie.
A
So I'm
different,
just-
you're talking about doing
yes.
something different, but how do we get to there?
Well,
So we don't know.
My next concern is this account that we're moving our liquid assets into, is it an investment type account or is it a savings type account?
It-
Well, what I'm
it
saying
could
is,
be.
you know, if it's
It's
savings,
savings.
we know we've got our money.
Right,
But to have large compounded interest, usually that's an investment type of account,
Mhm.
where if the interest rate tanks, then we lose our money.
that's correct, like you're talking about a money market in it, or
Mhm.
something, yes, that's,
So what's the risk
Well-
there?
We can't get a
we
hold of
can't
it.
probably do that, I wouldn't think, I'm not sure, but I just think that we could,
So,
so what do you propose if you don't?
I mean,
have
I
it?
don't know, I'm asking, you wrote the email and I
Mhm.
read it, and I was gonna respond to it, but I've been too busy to respond and try to
That's
get these
okay.
answers before tonight, but
That's okay,
here's as good a place as any.
yeah, that's good.
So, I mean, I
I
would
don't
like
have-
the, I know
Yeah.
there's no guarantee in trying to get interest money because it's gonna change, but I would have thought we would have had a better plan before we got here.
Yeah, I really worked hard to try to get that plan in place. I feel confident we could use the idle money to get the raises that we need
Do
without.
you have any insight on it? I know you wrote the paper.
I sure do.
Oh, no. we're
So
not
what did-
gonna see it
If you want that input, at this point, I
now.
do that.
I mean, you wrote the statement, did you not?
Co-authored.
Co-authored. Okay, so what's your feeling on it? Since you're the-
You got $3 million sitting there today in idle funds. You have money flowing through all the time. This is a 5% interest rate environment. There are at least 5 approved avenues for investing the city's funds. It can be CDs, it can be pools. The state actually operates 2 pools that you can participate in.
Do we know anything about the state pools?
I haven't really,
Local,
So,
it's 4 to
so what we're
5.
saying, you've done the research.
I've done the research.
You're proposing a budget,
It
but, okay,
requires-
we're done.
To achieve that requires some fairly aggressive cash management.
So I guess I'm confused now on who's working on the budget.
I was working on the budget.
Are you working on the budget or Mike Kane working on the budget?
I work on the budget, but I do ask for advice, yes.
Okay, so,
from the board
but
that
I'm
did not
asking
get
you questions, you
anything.
can't answer them. He's done a better job answering them.
I understand. I understand.
Okay. I guess I'll be quiet now.
If I may add one last thing, John, it's entirely likely that you can do that. In fact, the number that I calculated that's possible based upon the avenues that are available and the rates that are there and are likely to be there for the next year, it's probably more like 175 than it is 150.
So what would be the process of moving money around like that into accounts like that?
I don't know anything about I mean, I know the agreement that we have with Regions right now, that waives fees. And so I think it would be a major negotiation with Regions for us to do it. And I know that part of the agreement with Regions is that we keep X number of dollars there, but I don't, that agreement was made several years ago, and I don't know what the level of, the threshold of funds that have to stay there in order to maintain that agreement of not having to pay significant fees. So,
And I did talk to him about that, and he was saying a lot about that it was an old agreement and that it could be done, but we didn't get all those numbers in time, so I did talk to
I mean, I
Scott
don't know,
Beard about that, so it was.
I can't speak knowingly about it,
Right.
just because, I mean,
And I
and I
couldn't
know
get
that
it in
there
fast
are
enough.
banks that are paying higher interest
Right.
rate, or that are paying interest. But I'm also not sure with it being the public funds, with it being the general fund, I'm not sure how much of it we can actually move and stay. I know we can't move off revenue. I know that we've got to keep some in that fund.
I knew there would be some regulations there.
Yeah,
I mean, I
and I'm not sure about, I would have to, I mean, that's something that I have not
Do
investigated.
And
you
he
talk to
has-
MTS or anybody about how to do that?
No, not yet, but I do know that we can do some of that. But Scott was gonna get me some numbers, but I apologize for that, I didn't have it in time. We-
Final reading of the budget.
I understand,
I think I started emailing you in April.
You can always be smart if you want to, John, and that's okay.
I mean,
I tried
this is
very
why I
hard,
tried-
the only main
This is why I tried to
thing I'm
start
trying.
the process early,
Well,
not
I
last
have-
minute.
well,
So
I
if
wasn't
we
last
wanted to
minute,
do
it's a
something
lot of
like this,
research.
we could say, hey, we could move it here, and this is what they say, and this is how many dollars we would have to keep there.
You're
And it would
correct.
all be lined up and ready to go.
Yeah.
Instead of, this is what this guy said. and
I
we don't know who the
understand,
guy
I
is.
do understand,
I mean,
yes.
you know,
I do
there's,
understand.
there's nobody sitting on this stand right now that would be against moving
If
a
we can find
legal
free
amount
money,
of
I'd be
money into a state-sponsored pool that's an interest-bearing account.
Mhm.
There's nobody up here that would be against that. But this is the first time that anybody has heard about a state-sponsored pool.
I understand.
I mean, this is the final reading of the budget. You know, I don't want it to be painted like we're trying to drive a railroad stake here.
Of course
But
not.
you know,
No, I don't
it seems
either.
to me like this should be something that we plan months in advance.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
I wish
how
we
long
could've
it's
met
been
more.
since, I don't know, when you've learned of the state pool, I don't know when that information became available. But, like I said, I don't think there's anybody that would be against that, but we want to know, we would like to know how much money we can move. What are we contractually bound to do?
Okay.
You know,
I understand.
that
I
would be
understand.
key information for everybody to have.
I apologize for
I'm
not
with
being
JT on
prepared.
that. If that worked, that would be great. But there's a lot of unknown on doing that.
Okay.
I'm not a banker, but
And I know
if we
that
moved $1 million
they're
over
trying, but I'm
there and then we
trying.
couldn't move it back in 6 months and something happened that we had to have it, whatever that be.
I understand.
But,
I'm
what's
sure
going
there's
on
some
there?
restrictions.
Yeah. You
The
can't-
less restrictions, the lower the rate.
Yeah.
So,
The state's local municipal investment pool pays 5.17% currently on an annualized, on a 7-day term,
And
with no limit as to how much you can put in it. That would allow you to manage the cash and checking accounts, to make sure you cover your, outgo, but at the same time, have the vast majority of your money invested and earning 5, going up to close to 5.5% during the year on the funds that you have idle. That would go a long way toward reducing the, property tax increase that's necessary to do much of anything.
That 7 days, is that if you had compared it to like a 6-month CD, it's the 7 day that they restricted, so it's just a 7 day
They
restriction.
have various time frames that you can commit your money for. You can repeat it, you can leave it in there for another 7 days, or you can extend it, or you pull out what you need.
one thing with that though, I'm looking into the future. Rates go down, we lose that. You've got a hedge for going forward, and that's where we've dwindled money away over the years from not having a property tax increase since 2004. But with that interest revenue that's possible now, we could look at maybe not having a higher, kind of meet in the middle. That way when rates drop, we can still have stuff to balance the budget going forward for a few years. And are
Go
you
ahead,
good with
yes.
2% for the employees, or you want to help them out more?
Well, I want to apologize for not being here earlier. I had eye surgery a little bit ago. I just woke up, and I was thinking it was at 6, but it's 5:30. But anyway, I still see pretty clear now. I'm willing to give the employees what they deserve. I believe that the 2% is what I'm gonna vote for. I'm not voting for no property tax. But is this the first time we've ever had a situation where you can't get no extra month, 2, in a situation like this? I know this ain't the first time it ever happened. May have in Selmer.
what do you mean extra? What do you mean?
I mean, can you, so okay, the budget got to be decided tonight. Is it not an extension, month, 90 days that you can talk, it's got to be done, set in stone tonight? Is that true?
It's an automatic extension.
Is it automatic extension or?
If you don't pass it,
What?
it's an automatic extension of your last fiscal year 23 budget.
So what we've approved to begin with is the 2%, correct?
Yes, sir.
The budget with the 2% flat.
That's it.
So we've got to decide on whether we want to approve that or increase that and adjust other stuff. That's really
Yeah.
what we need to
That's it.
decide.
And approve the amendments.
My vote is to look into it and see what we can do to find extra money and leave the property tax like it is, and so it will be 20 years next year. It ain't set in stone that you gotta do something 20 years to it. How come you didn't do it at 10? Why you can't go to 30? If there's money being missed or not accounted for or whatever, can we not look into that?
I guess my question is, why hadn't we looked into it? Why hadn't,
Well, I mean.
Well-
since the mayor's the sole
Hey, you know, you can
Well,
blame
if
it
you
on me.
could,
I'm
y'all
trying
can
to
Well,
put
learn
beating
as
up
well.
on her and
you
just
tried
try to
you
help
tried
somebody.
You tried to say in your statement that you were the sole.
I am the sole, and the
Okay,
mayor is,
then-
but I have to have a team of people that I can,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
work
well, that's
with.
what we're trying to do.
And,
Well, the way y'all come across
well,
and helping her
now-
from the
I mean,
beginning
no,
of
from the
January
beginning,
ain't been the best in the
no.
world.
I mean, honestly,
I ain't
I've
seen none
asked
of
for
you running
help.
to help nobody that much.
I've asked and asked for help, and I wanted to I'll go back to apologize, and whoops, that I did not mean to leave SUD. That was not what I meant for that to read. I just want y'all to know. I wanted y'all to get, y'all work as hard as anybody else, I want to say. That is not, I just was saying that I cannot come over to Chris Grisham's side and have anything to do with what y'all, I mean, I can if you want me to, but, you know. I mean, I see how hard y'all work, so I want, you know, I just want it to be fair and to say all this, you know, try to, you know, get 2%, but, you know, I do think it needs to be a merit-based and evaluation. I think that's great, because you've got somebody that gets 2% across the board, and you know how it is when you work, it's your work. You don't, you know, everybody doesn't get the same, and that's kind of like, you know, y'all, I'm a team player, I'll listen to what y'all propose, that's what I'm after, and not raise the property taxes.
And I'm just one vote.
What's the
That's
average
my vote.
hourly wage for a city employee, not counting department heads? You might know.
Oh, you got 1150.
They
Some of
start
them
at-
1150.
Most of them start at 11.50.
Mhm.
Or-
Some of them is-
I couldn't tell you what the average is.
2% on $15 is 30 cents.
$14.
Yeah, y'all didn't have a problem years ago when I was trying to give the money. You said, hey, we can't do it, we gotta give everybody a raise. And then all of a sudden, we broke loose, we started helping fire department, police, and everybody. Now, you wanna give more, so what done changed? I know people leaving, so
And-
what's done changed?
What's changed?
Yeah.
No,
I know the world's changed.
no department can keep enough employees.
Well, you
If
wouldn't
we're
want
starting
them
out at
paying.
$11 an hour,
Yeah.
1150.
you can go anywhere in town and make more money.
I
Now, you're not gonna
understand.
get the retirement,
McDonald's.
some of the benefits, but a lot of people don't see that.
Yeah, we said that then, and they said, well, we can go to McDonald's, but we ain't making hamburgers out here.
You know?
But we
But
have to
You ain't
start
running a weed eater
somewhere.
in McDonald's either.
No, I know, I run one,
I know.
yeah,
I do too.
real man.
I don't know where Chief Carr is. Where is Chief Carr over there? Chief Carr, you know, we talked about this the other day when you came to the office and talked about, you know, about 6 years ago. Did you propose, you want to
Yeah,
say
6
that?
years ago, we put
Mhm.
together, me and Richard, the step pay plan. We should have done it
Yeah.
then. We
That
didn't
would've been great.
last year. Hounded you real hard.
You did.
You better do something. I see it coming. Dollar this year, dollar next year, do $1 every year. Well, I don't know what happened there. I'll tell you one thing.
I'll tell you what happened there. You told me what the cost was. I said, we can't afford that. Don't get amnesia now. That's what you said.
But
But
y'all would have had a year to figure it out. Last tax increase was 2004. 2004, I bought a brand new engine, $190,000, 6 to 9 months to get it. Right now, that same engine's $385 to $425. 3 years to get it. I've got part-time that works just as hard as my full-time because I've had them out. I've got one that thinks he's got cancer right now. Don't know how long he's gonna be out. Deaths and stuff. Making $10 an hour. Got some of them making 11. The max on that is 12. My paid people, except for 2 of us, is $13, $15 an hour. It works out to about $27,000 a year. You can drive an hour and 45 minutes down the road, start out at $62,000 a year. You can drive to Olive Branch, and that's what they're doing. You know, we've got to do something. Like I told her yesterday, I'm really not bitching about my pay, but we've got the fire chief at Savannah, the fire chief at Corinth, the fire chief at Bolivar, and Henderson. Makes $20,000 more a year than I do. I've got twice the education of all of them.
I'm not saying you don't deserve it, because you know I'm an old firefighter. I know where you're coming from. But I'm saying we need to look at seeing how everything's going with the money and do some trimming some fat up and tightening up some stuff. It's got to be some loose stuff out there.
I think so. And I didn't get to see the STEP program that y'all had when y'all had proposed it, I guess 6 years ago, but hey, I'm open for whatever's best for of course, the employees, but then also we gotta make sure about the taxpayers, and I do
Well,
understand all your points, yes.
a proposed increase to .9 will affect the average citizen $49 a year. Now,
.9, you said .9?
to .9, from .65 or whatever it is now to .9 is $49 a year. And that's basing it off the median property tax analysis. So that assessment for our city is $85,000 a year. That's $85,000 is the median property tax assessment. So if you increase it from .65 to .9, it's $49 a year.
And it was .81
Increases.
2 years ago prior to the new assessments. And I can tell you, Hardin County,
it went down.
they didn't move theirs down. When the assessments went up, they kept it the same. And if we'd done that, just left it the same, we wouldn't be having this discussion. We'd have some money to give a little bit more raises to the people to help get the employees up where they deserve.
Can I ask why it went down?
We didn't have nothing to do
Oh,
with it.
okay. Oh, I'm just asking, I didn't know, I don't know.
Somebody adjusted it down. It must have been in the, I don't remember, was it in the
Was
budget
it-
last year to adjust it down to keep it? And we shouldn't have done it then. We should have just left
Okay.
it the same.
Yeah.
Because what he's proposed, it's .82, only .082 higher than what it was then. But I would like to see, and this is my opinion, was if we did that, have a 10% pool for raises that the department heads would have. Do it by merit, the ones that deserved it. And you don't have to use it all. Now, I worked somewhere where
Oh,
they gave us
absolutely.
that and you didn't have to use it all.
That's right.
If you gave everybody what they thought and you had some left, it just went back in for next year. And then 2% going forward for that to carry us down the road where we won't have to worry about any property taxes for the next probably 8 to 10 years if inflation will slow down. And if you add the interest revenue that we could gain until rates drop again, that would help cushion us going forward and make sure there's no problem with the 2% cost of living going forward.
And you have to forgive my memory on the numbers, but 2 years ago, the median property tax assessment went from like 54,000 to the 85,000 it is today. And what we did was we adjusted the rate so that everybody's bill stayed the same to reflect that adjustment. Everybody's homes were worth a lot more than they were the previous year.
Oh, absolutely, that's
And
true from this.
We tried to, I guess, at the time, we tried to do what we thought was right and help everybody as much as we could, and, now, here we are.
I understand, yes.
And we're trying to
I see
do it
that, I see
again.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
If possible.
So what's
So-
the right thing to do?
I'm looking, I'm kind of stepping backwards. I'm looking at the interest rate thing. So in 2022, the rates may be 5% today. It says 4.91 in May, so they may have changed a little bit. But in 2022, the highest rate was 1.38% or 94%. The lowest rate was 0.04. So if you're getting 0.04% on money, you're not getting anything.
That's right.
So if we go back to that rate, we can't count on that money.
Yeah, we can't,
Right.
for it being
And that's-
interest, you
and that
can't
was-
guarantee every
That was
year
a
you
year
get
ago,
that.
or a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
It was 0.04. So if you're counting on income, that's change.
Well, if we don't get it from there, we can get it, well, surely you are coming
But
up
if
with
if
some
we can
great
get it
discussion, y'all.
if we can get it
y'all-
while we're getting it, that would be great. And
Right.
then when the rates go back to, if they go back to nothing, we can move it back out of there and do whatever
Or
we're
maybe
going
over
on what we're
something
doing.
else, or-
I think
Something like
mostly
that.
what everybody's hung up on is we need a line item and a dollar figure.
I understand.
If we know that we're gonna take 750,000, I'm just throwing this number out.
I got it, yeah.
The numbers are relevant, but if we
Right.
know we're taking that from the general fund and we're investing it in the state pool, then we can kind of form an actual assessment of where the $100,000 that you're referring to is coming from.
I understand.
In order for
That's
us to
right.
approve it, it has to be in writing. We can't
Oh,
approve.
no, I get
you
that,
know,
and I get that.
We can't approve guesswork here.
I got it.
So if we can get it in writing, you'll go for it.
Well, I have to,
And that I
Have to
think
work
it was
somewhere.
just before you stepped in. I said, nobody on this stand is against making the best use
Right.
of the city's funds.
Right.
But we have to do it in a way that's legal and that we don't breach any of our contracts that we currently have with the banks that we currently have our money stored with. But we also need to leave the city in a solvent state where if something happens, we can access the money to take care of whatever we need to take care of. So, you know, we gotta,
Can I speak just a second?
Yes, sir.
17 years here. I've got guys that work for me, and the 2%, agreeing on that, we've been stuck on 2% for so many years. So to hear that that's agreed upon, I don't understand how that even sounds right. Now granted, we got a pretty decent one last year, but I've got guys that work for me today. Did anybody walk outside and see how hot it was?
Yes, yes, yes.
It was miserable. Yeah, I had guys that was in that from 7 o'clock this morning to 3:30 this afternoon. No air conditioner, miserable. And I've got guys making $12 an hour.
I know.
So how is 2%? You add 10 cents as a raise? How are we gonna keep good employees? You're not. When you can go to Adamsville, they start out with somebody 16-year-old, making almost double, not knowing nothing. The ladies in our office take cussings daily.
Bless them. Yes, I do know.
And
I understand.
2%. It's like a slap in the face. I don't understand how that's right. I mean, granted, if it had been took care of years ago and it didn't lead to this now, it would be different. But, you know, we've been at 2 to 3% for so many years. So to hear that number again, if my whole crew walks off tomorrow, that's a lot of people gonna be without water. Because there ain't nobody else that can come in and do our job the way that we do.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
What was your thing about raises?
John?
They'll go to change the property tax
I mean, we
to whatever.
either 0.85 or 0.9,
Do
it
it.
really don't.
Do a 10% pool and do it off merit.
Yeah,
Merit.
and then going forward, I said 2, but if we can have some interest rate earnings, then you might look at 3 or something. It just depends on in years coming. I mean, I'm just looking down the road. If we do something now, I want it to carry down the road, but we're not dealing with this issue again.
But doing the merit based will give the people, and all y'all know, all the department heads know who works and who doesn't work.
Yeah, and it'll be on
So
the
if you're out there
department
working
head.
and you're for $12 an hour, you're gonna get more than just the guy standing there watching everybody else work. And I think that's a lot better way than a blanket, say we're giving everybody this. It's gonna make somebody mad. I guarantee somebody's gonna quit when it happens, but
the part that
Don't
concerns me
like
the
that, but-
most,
I said, it's if you give everybody a merit-based raise and give one more than the other, somebody's gonna get mad and quit, but it's probably the guy that's not really working anyway.
Exactly.
Well, that's true. And you got some that do through 3 different jobs, you know, like a
Yeah.
they,
If you're certified to do everything,
Right,
you should get
right.
paid more than the guy that is not, and doesn't wanna try to be.
right,
And it encourages some to move up
Well,
to
yeah.
try to get
work harder.
that there extra money if they desire that. If
Yeah.
they don't desire it, that's their fault.
So
And they can stay where they
I,
are.
I think that would be the way to go, would be enough of a jump to keep everybody employed, make most everybody happy, and then we would have enough money from the property tax without a whole lot of burden on the taxpayer. And then if we can get interest, if we can figure out how to do that during the year,
I'll look it up tomorrow.
and
That's good, thank you.
I'll pull it up the website, but it doesn't show me anything with the rates.
I can make a copy.
Yeah. it'd be
I
easier.
believe that increasing the interest is a wonderful idea. But we cannot base our permanent liabilities off a fluctuating number.
I understand that.
You know,
The interest will be your icing on your cake.
yeah, That would be,
Well, it takes a little work if you work it to move it and, you know, it takes a little bit of work. to do
absolutely,
that.
but there's no work that can be done if the Fed falls out the bottom.
Well, I understand that, but I know, I get it, but I'm just saying we have to do something,
A year
we
and a
have
half
to do
ago,
something.
the rate was 0.04%.
Right.
So
But we
if
have
it goes
to.
back in a year to that, you can't count on that money being there because it's gonna be
Uh-huh.
gone.
That's my concern.
I understand. Thank you for expressing that. I was just trying to find something that we can give these guys and these ladies,
Right.
something more than 2%, and they can have something to work for, with, so people don't leave and go somewhere else. And if they do multiple jobs and they get a little bit more of a merit raise or an evaluation that gives them a little bit more, and that was my goal.
I think the merit raises, that's what we're all talking about now,
understand.
just
Yeah.
getting there in a different manner.
And I
Yeah,
don't, I'm sorry, I don't
everybody
have
is-
everything that I should have had.
Everybody is behind that idea.
Okay.
And you know, I believe there's so many unknowns right now with moving our general fund, whatever percentage we're gonna move out of there, which we still don't know. You know, if it works out and next year at budget time, we're in the positive, you know, our general fund's going up instead of dwindling down every year, then that would be a time to reassess property taxes. Or 3 years from now.
Right,
But
I understand.
I think we need to get the general fund in a positive direction before we back ourselves into a corner and find ourselves with more liabilities than we have income. Um,
So what do we do now? What is your advice? Vice
Well, we'll
Mayor?
have to amend the 2% and then the property tax. I mean, that's the two key issues we're discussing
Mhm.
Right.
on the budget.
And do the
And
amendments.
everybody's together on the merit stuff, which
Okay, I appreciate that.
to me should
Thank
make
you.
a better employee. Knows if they work, they'll get similar.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I do think that the merit, it needs to be an ironclad system
Yes,
where, you know, too many times, and everybody's seen it in every workplace I've ever been in, especially even places that have merit-based systems. You know, this person might be really working, but this other person that's looking over the merit checklist doesn't like that person. Well, they're gonna give that person all 3s. And then you got this person over here that they really like that's not doing as good a job, and they give them all 5s, you know.
That's where you gotta have the
And
right
that's-
department head.
that's what I'm saying, and
There's
that's,
no bias.
and that's why I was saying, you know, that would be, also the mayor would be involved in that, so that we could keep favoritism out and.
Yeah. If we don't keep favoritism and
I'm,
buddy-buddy,
you know,
it ain't gonna work.
Hey, I'm gonna
No.
go off of your evaluation, and I'm gonna listen to the department head, and
Well,
and
they
of
should
course I
explain to
said-
you, if you're gonna do that, why that we should deserve to give them this much. And
Absolutely, and
So
that's what I'm saying, that way you have a second
I
set
got
of
no
eyes.
problem.
We
I think
don't,
it
we don't
works.
want the guy that drinks beer with Raymond.
Oh, no. But I think that I would listen to your evaluation on your
Yes,
person.
ma'am, and on the merit raises, like, I understand, it's a lot better plan, but my thing, it's me and 3 other guys. All 3 guys have a set thing that they do. Without either one of them, it puts our whole crew, it slows us down and puts us at a standstill, almost.
Well,
Well, no, we
well,
would
it's
listen
not
to
you're
them.
picking
It's
one of
not
the
like-
3.
No,
It's-
you're not.
If all 3 of your guys are
Are
doing
5s,
a
and you'll
grade
give them
A
5.
job, then
Mhm.
all 3 of your guys deserve the merit raise.
Absolutely.
So the merit is what again?
It's so
It's spread out between 10% over 3 people.
No,
no,
it's
No,
10%.
no.
10% period.
Oh, okay.
So the department would get 10% and get to shuffle that around the way they see fit.
Whole department. Oh,
The whole,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the department gets 10% over what they got last year for,
Or whatever
wages,
the salary
and
base
then-
is.
Yeah.
they get to say, you get 10 cents, you get,
So it's not 10% for the person, it's for the whole department.
and then the money gets spread out, yes.
So if you have 3 people, you can do 3.
Yeah, you might get 2%
No,
if you're
everybody
just
could get 10%.
holding a shovel up or something.
Right.
Everybody could,
Just 'cause if
it would be
it's
up to 10% for each employee.
Oh,
Dep-
okay.
dep-
That's
dep-
what
dep-
I'm saying.
dep- Depending on,
That's what I'm saying.
depending on how the department head saw fit. No, everybody's not gonna get 10%, somebody may get, I mean, it's possible for somebody to get 12.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody get 5.
Okay, see, okay, I got you.
So it's not you're dividing up the 10%, it's.
That's right.
Right.
Okay, see, I thought we was.
But-
No, so if one of your men's out, the other two gonna have to double up, just like anybody else, vacation, sickness, or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that's life.
We got 4 different departments. So is it department, as all 4 departments combined with that 10%?
Yeah. So.
And that's 10% of your salaries.
Say what, Raymond?
No.
And that 10% is based off of that last year's salaries,
Mhm.
correct?
So, yeah, your department would get 10% extra, then you decide where it went.
Well, so what I need to do now, I'm totally confused.
So what, vote on that now?
Well,
What
we
do
need
you wanna
to,
do?
we need to nail down how these amendments are gonna read.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm
That's the
asking for
next
your
step
help.
here.
Okay, so what do you want? Do what now?
Who would decide how the marriage goes?
It'll be the
Her and
department
department
head
head.
and me, and the department head would decide.
You
Yes.
gonna let them know that?
Of course, yes. They
I mean,
know.
Yeah, therefore we've already said.
Yeah, well, I was a little late.
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
I
yes,
see.
I would oversee it,
Yeah.
because I do see, because I'm out and about looking at everything, so I
Now,
know.
they gotta be fair,
And
you
they
gotta be fair.
yes,
And
absolutely.
it's gotta be, where we don't have to kick his can down the road.
No,
To
that's
me.
exactly
Yeah, and
right.
if they all suck, you ain't gotta give them return money. I mean, if they ain't, none of them doing the job.
Oh, yeah, right.
Absolutely, I mean, you
Yeah.
can't just
You
give,
can't use it, or you don't have to use it all, that's the thing.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
You get a put money in.
that's right.
So with this,
So what would
what
we
about
say?
the department heads and how's that gonna work too? Is that 10% or is it, who's gonna decide that? Who's gonna decide the department head pay scale?
That would have to be the mayor.
I think it should be an evaluation, as we would put together. If y'all have any input, you can let me know. I think that,
But
for
with-
y'all,
as far as adjusting department heads' pay, would that not have to be brought to a vote?
They
Just
normally-
like,
they normally get the.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Well,
hasn't,
what we're talking about adjusting it
I can't remember.
in,
I mean, we.
I don't think so,
John's
I've looked
going
at it,
here
but I don't think so.
and decide who's going.
I don't think
don't
we've
think
ever
so.
voted on a department head.
We have,
In the past, we have?
yeah.
John said he can't
Jim.
remember. I don't
Well, yeah,
I know
you,
you have.
We voted,
Grandfather.
Yeah, you're right. You gonna give
we
me a
had to
cane?
vote to adjust Jim's
You
pay.
gonna give me the cane?
No.
Right.
17
When he took on the job as,
City planner.
city planner. So, you know.
all right, that's totally whatever y'all decide. I just want everybody to
So
get
we
fair
clear, it'd be
across
up
the-
to the
Across the
mayor
board.
and the board, for y'all to get together and figure it out, see what's fair, and then we know whatever y'all come up with, we go along with it.
Well, you may
Is that
not
fair?
agree with it. You may not.
For how they gonna do the merit raises and with the department heads.
No.
And y'all raise too.
Did y'all normally get, if we did a 2%, they did that, did y'all, the department heads get that? I can't. So you
Yeah,
got,
the
that's
department
what I'm
heads got it.
everybody,
It's
every
already in
employee
there.
got that,
Yeah.
and did that,
All the
okay.
way across. They did.
So they would have to, we'd have to decide that.
What if we done this? Y'all were talking about 10%, the way I, correct me if I'm wrong. You're gonna take 10% of my budget and give it to me, and tell me how to divide it up. Say we'll do the same thing, Raymond do the same thing, I assume Chris and Angie would do the same thing. Kim would do the same thing. We take it and we put it in writing, who gets what, the reason why, and then we bring it back and let y'all approve it. Would we do that?
But as far as the budget goes, the dollar amount is what needs to be passed today.
We just gotta
Yeah.
do
And
the
that's
10%
it.
that
That
we
would-
bring
that would-
back.
So, what it would be is based off of 10% raises across the board, and then you just draw out of that pool
Correct.
where it goes.
Each department has a pool, as opposed to,
So like, it would be a pool of money, and that pool of money would represent a 10% raise for everybody in that department.
yeah.
But not everybody's gonna get that 10% until they earn whatever percentage of that 10.
That you decide.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No,
what I'm
that's what
saying,
the
that we could put it.
But
like
between the
each
department head
may
and the
black
mayor,
white.
department head and the
Then-
mayor will decide.
Yeah, and I don't.
The department head and the mayor will decide who gets what?
Absolutely, we have the valuations.
Budget, but that's helping fund it.
Well, that's what we're deciding on now.
Yeah. If you gonna give up 10%,
That's what we're deciding on now.
moving forward.
Do what?
But I mean, it's only $15 a month.
Decide on the department heads.
Confirm or not confirm.
Yeah, that's what,
That's right.
that's what I'm saying, let each department head put it together
Yeah.
and how, and send it, email it, or
Send it to the
send
mayor.
it to all.
Oh, yeah.
Not to the board. Board's got,
That's the
they
mayor.
have the right under your charter
Mhm.
to say grace over
You was gonna sit in,
individual
so that's all it
pays.
needs. Second eyes looking at it, making sure it's right.
Yeah,
The only one that the board can
What are
individually
you saying?
chime
I see
in
you're
on
gonna sit in.
and either
so we're doing it here the
confirm or
second set of
deny
eyes to make sure
the
it's
department
not
head.
Yeah,
crazy,
yeah,
so.
yes.
Mhm.
And I can
That's
disagree
why
or I can agree.
plan that you talked
I
about.
don't want it to be
works
favoritism or
as the
anything.
department head working with the mayor, who does have that authority to decide the individual ones, and work out the plan within the scope of the dollars that are approved by the board.
So I guess the easiest way to do this would be do the 10%, we get the dollar amount in the budget. The department heads would come together, they would do it and clear it through the mayor. For the department heads, the mayor would put it together and then let the board approve what
Yes,
what the figure
that would
is.
be
That
fine.
would be the easiest way.
Yes, and,
Yeah.
and I do know MTS has evaluations. I've talked to MTS and they have
So that, and that's,
evaluations.
and that's what we would,
So,
and so that would be,
They have
that would,
evaluations.
the actual pay changes wouldn't come about until
yes,
the next
that's-
meeting.
Yes.
No,
Yep.
that was
All right,
So-
how do I write that? How do I write that?
as far as
Where's
dollar
that money
amount,
going,
we're gonna
coming
need-
from?
I mean,
How- yeah, how
whichever
am I gonna-
tax rate that you want, and the amendment is the amendment to your budget would be the
Okay.
the adjusting the salary amounts by 10%.
Call for motion to second reading.
That would be what you're amending the
Yeah.
budget.
That gets all the
From
numbers right,
2
but
to
the
10.
individual numbers can be worked out
Yeah.
during the year.
Correct.
But the
From 2 to
allocation is
10?
within
Yeah,
each
from 2 to
department.
10, cause it's originally
But,
had 2.
yeah.
And
Like
then
we
whatever
said,
tax
there can
rate
be
you
some
have.
left
Call for a
over
mo-
and somebody's.
Yeah.
Call for motion for second reading.
And I believe,
On a person.
as far as department heads go, you might have a
Financial.
little extra in there.
No,
If you
look at
find
the
an
tax
employee
card,
or
whatever that assessment is.
somebody that comes in that knows how to do everything, I don't know where you're gonna find them, but if you do, you might be able to pay them more than the $10 starting fee.
With the
If-
assessment.
But, you know what I'm saying.
Assessment rate is not what the actual rate of assessment.
There's always
And
something.
John, okay, so for the amendments, I don't have to say anything like that for the amendments. Amendments are just call for a motion for the second reading and amendments. That's it.
Yep, and we'll have to specify what the amendments
Yeah.
are.
What are
We
they?
can't just, we can't,
I know, that's exactly right. So,
We'll have to do the
Each
amendments
individual
and then do the
amendment.
budget.
and the budget's where I'm gonna add in the adjusting the salaries from 2 to 10.
No, we're gonna do that. The amendment will take care of that.
yeah.
So
The
that's where
amendment
that
for
needs to go.
The
Yeah.
amendment to the budget is not the same as the amendments to previous year. It's two separate things. You're amending the proposed budget for fiscal year 2024.
Okay. From 2 to 10%, right?
Where's that coming from? Are we raising
That's the next amendment we gotta vote on.
That'd be the next one.
That's the next amendment we gotta
And
vote on.
we gotta change the tax rate too.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Okay.
oh, okay. I'll just make sure I say this right, because I may, oh, I'm sorry.
Before there's a vote, may I chime in one more time? As a taxpayer, as an employer, I understand the need for employees to have a more level playing field with employment opportunities around, and I applaud that. The more professional approach to pay and performance evaluations, I applaud that. We've done that half my life. Be a little careful about the tax rate. I'll point out to you that the 90 cents is a 44% increase in the tax rate. And while the median residents assessed value may be 85,000, and may only result in $40 to $50 in additional tax, I guarantee you that's not the case with the higher valued property and the commercial property. Just be knowledgeable of that. As a taxpayer, I may be willing to pay 44%, but I am not willing to pay that. I'll go kicking and fighting and screaming if you've got an opportunity to minimize that either this year or down the future by taking advantage of the earnings power on the money you've already got of mine.
Well, and that's the good part about doing a budget every year. You can always go down.
That doesn't address the earnings on the money that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If there's interest earnings to be made, we can adjust the tax rate down.
There is money to be made. It's not an if.
Well, that's
Okay.
what I'm
And
saying.
it's not an if it goes to 0.05%. It's any more than it's an if these people are actually gonna show up to work and get paid, or if the sun
Okay.
shines tomorrow.
You're correct. It's not an if, it's a will.
There has
The
to
rate
be.
will change. It will, period.
It will, but
Hey,
it's not-
period.
it's
It
not-
will
it's not-
change.
It's not going in the tank anytime soon.
But we
You don't know
can
that.
Pay a little bit more on taxes and have water and gas and everything.
Okay.
Here's what you do know.
Did I say anything about
You're
not
sitting
being
here
with,
talking
did
about
I,
our raises.
did
Yes,
I
Oh.
say anything? Can I finish?
No, actually, y'all are all gonna be quiet. We're gonna vote.
Okay.
Because we're not gonna sit in here and fight.
It is there,
I-
and it can be managed.
Okay. You've had your time.
Okay, all right, so I guess the call for a motion for the second reading of the amendment for the financial year 2023 in the budget. And this will include the 2% to 10%? No. No, I've got it.
Okay, I'm sorry. The-
No, no,
the
I thought that's-
amendment for 2023 is just that.
Just what it was, that's what I was,
Yes,
that's what I
and
thought.
That's not what we've been discussing, that's
Okay.
just last year.
Okay, all right.
So it does need to be passed, those amendments need to
That's
pass
what I was
second
asking
reading
about the
and passed.
amendments.
And so we can get that out of the way.
Just
And
ask
we don't have to do
the
anything with
original
them.
amendments.
Yes, okay,
Yeah.
so call for a motion
I
on
make a
second
motion
reading
for
of
that.
amendments. Okay.
I'll second.
FY 23, okay.
Get that over.
Gosh, for real. Motion by Sane and second by, who was it? Austin, John Austin. Okay, sorry about that.
Yes.
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 Okay, help me with this one, because I'm kind of a little confused here. So call for a motion for the second reading for the financial year 2024, is that correct? Budget. Adjusting the salaries from 2%.
Amended.
Amending the
Amended.
original budget.
Or amending it from the original budget, from adjusting the salaries from 2% to 10%. Did I say that correctly?
Yes. And the
Tax
And
rate.
Property tax rate.
Is that all in the same one?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's all in the same amendment, it's
Yeah.
all in the same budget. The budget has to have, the wording of the budget has to include the tax rate.
Did I say that right, Miss Ann?
You hadn't set the tax rate yet.
I haven't said the tax rate yet.
It has to be on the same.
Yeah, it does
So it's
have to
one
say.
amendment including both of them.
Yes. And the tax rate, but what is the tax rate on here? Is it on there?
From
182.
0.69 to 0.90.
Okay.
No,
Point
that-
069 to
That was
point,
what was in the original.
no, point, wait a minute.
No, no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
0.69 to 0.90.
090. Okay. All right. It makes a motion.
90.
90. 0.90. Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Johnny Norris, motion, and second by Finlayson. Any discussion?
John Austin.
Yes.
Don Finlayson.
Yes.
Tracy Hawkins.
Yes.
Johnny Norris.
Yes.
Willie Sine.
No.
I just feel like
Motion carries.
anything else? All right. Any discussion from anybody else? Meeting adjourned.